having a series called as a Sherlock astronomy series or naming it in that fashion. But the overall purpose or the focus of this series is to try and be as involved in finding out some useful information from the available data. Lot of the astronomical events which happen, primarily a lot of scientists which go to observe, for example, even the total solar eclipse, they are actually doing some live observations when the event is happening. So here, of course, we are not going to do live observations, but I have got some photographs in the form of star trails, and that is what actually the title says, that star trails and what they reveal. So star trails have been primarily useful for decoding a lot of information, such as your exposure time of your camera, that is for how long you were collecting light. It can also help you to find out what is the latitude of your location from where this photograph was taken. And at the same time, you can also find out the declination of a star, or I will block the now can you see me? Yeah? Okay. Everything is fine, yeah? Alright. So now that I've given a brief introduction, let me just summarize as to what we are going to do today, or what I plan to summarize today is that first we'll find out some exposure time from a given star trail. I mean, if we have a particular star trail which is given, then we will try and find out what is the exposure time that was given, or for how long the camera was taking that star trail photograph, or even we can, it may not be that the camera was continuously taking light for about an hour or maybe 2 hours, but they can be integrations of 30-second exposures. That is what we call as stacking. But after that we will go a little behind in our lecture series, where Abha Vaishampayan, the last talk was given by Abha Vaishampayan, and she had discussed positional astronomy. So her focus had lied on the right ascension and declination system which astronomers use, very similar to what we use in our day-to-day life, called as the latitude and longitude system. Alright? So we will primarily focus on what is the declination of a star, then what is the relation between the pole star and our latitude. I mean, how many of you now remember that whenever we go out for observations, पुण्यात जे आहेत किंवा पुण्यातला यांनी ऑब्झर्वेशन्स केले, where exactly is the pole star? It is close to the horizon, right? It is never above us, it's never at the zenith. So what is that relation between the pole star's position in the sky and our latitude? Okay, and after that we'll look into a main point, as I call it the main point. And lastly, what are the star trails at different locations? On different locations on Earth, you will have these star trails in different shapes. So we'll just see as to what those shapes could be. Okay, and after that we will come forward and try to calculate the latitude of a location from these star trails. And then if time persists, I have some simulations downloaded on my computer. So let us try and visualize these concepts on those simulations and try and answer some questions at the end. Okay, so I'm going to begin with this first photograph. Can anyone tell me what this photograph looks like? Or what is this photograph?
It's a meteor shower.
No.
It's a rising from star and setting.
It's a rising, so it's a star trail image which has been taken by our member Amol Kamkaria, and this is the place which this would be exact north. Okay, and as Abha had said in our last talk, that all the circumpolar stars, okay, or all the stars which are closer to the northern direction, near okay, so they all are going around the north pole, or what we call as the north pole star or north celestial pole. Let me again bring this point that the north pole star, or Dhruva Tara as it is called as, is not exactly the north celestial pole. It is at 89 degree and 30 minutes. But because of that small error of about 30 minutes, we call it as the north pole star. But this north pole star again keeps changing. So now from these star trails, what is it that I see, or what is there in particular that I am seeing? There are some arcs. Can you find out some circles and arcs of a circle out here? So if this is my board, okay, can everyone see that? Alright. So this is a circle, and we know that in a circle there are 360 degrees. Okay. So if I have, say, I have just given this arc, okay. By knowing this angle, can I correlate what this arc length could be? Just by knowing the angle, let us say 360 degrees would correspond to the complete circumference, that is 2 pi r. Therefore, similarly, if this is angle theta, we will be able to find out this length. But now we are not going to go exactly in terms of length out here, but we are going to consider star trails as in time. So what I want to say to that is that if this is the arc of a particular star trail, as you can see in these photographs, there are lots of arcs which you see. Okay, let us consider that this is one arc. Okay, and the center of all these arcs is here. That is the North Celestial Pole. Okay. How long does it take for a star to complete one revolution around the Earth, or apparently one revolution around the Earth?
1 day.
24 hours.
24 hours. Yes. So if 24 hours correspond to 360 degrees, okay, that means 1 hour would correspond to 15 degrees. Yes, if 360 is divided by 24, so 1 hour will correspond to 15 degrees. That means in terms of astronomy, we would just be saying that in a period of 1 hour, the star would have moved 15 degrees in the sky, right? So if in 1 hour it is moving 15 degrees, let us say in 10 minutes it will move around 2.5 degrees. Okay? So what we do is we try to measure this angle which is subtended by this arc. So what we are doing is we are assuming that there is a star which has trailed for some period of time, and now I am interested to find out its angle. This is the North Celestial Pole, and I want to find out what this angle is. Okay? So to find out that angle, there is a tool in Photoshop called as a measure tool. Alright? So you can see that here is the center of, here is the North Celestial Pole, and from here I have taken this arc of my interest, okay, and I have tried to measure the angle between angle formed here, okay, or at the center. So this angle comes to close to around 20.6 degrees, okay. So what we said was that in 10 minutes, okay, the sky will rotate about 2.5 degrees. So therefore, in 20.6 degrees, okay, what is the time duration? Okay, so that time duration, can anyone just calculate this value immediately?
90 minutes.
206 by 25, so this would be about 200. So this would be 82.4.
Approximately it was 90 or approximately.
90 or something.
Yeah.
Let us see what was the actual value. Actual exposure time came to be close to 90 minutes. That means Amol was taking the photograph. This is an actual exposure was 90 minutes, and what we calculated was 82.4 minutes. So can you see the error? It's just 8.4%. Now 8.4% can be a little too much, but let us have one more image then. Okay, this is another image which I have got from my friend Saram, and here is again a star trail which you see. In fact, he has just imprinted his image onto it, and by the similar method, we found out this angle to be 18.4 degrees now. Okay, and the interesting part about this is that it doesn't matter which arc I choose, because all stars, irrespective of their locations or irrespective of where they are in the actual sky, okay, they are still going to move 2.5 degrees in 10 minutes. Okay, so the actual exposure here was 70 minutes. Okay, and what we calculated was 73.6 minutes. So now the percentage error has come down to 5.14%. Okay, and there is a last image which was taken by one of our amateur astronomers, Parimal Dave. Many of you might be knowing him also. And in this photograph again, if you see, the angle subtended here is 13.9 degree. Okay, so are you noticing that as the angle is decreasing, time calculated is also decreasing?
And
So
the error is also coming.
area is also kind of, so that what we were saying, that there is a direct relation between the angle at the center and the arc length. Okay, here it is evidently being seen that. So the actual exposure time was 54.5 minutes, and the calculated came to 55.6. So the error was just, I think, 2.01%. So that is how this error margin is there from about 2 to 8%. But the interesting part here is that making use of such amateur software or making use of such rough calculations you can find out this estimate of what could be the exposure. Okay. Now,
Dhruv, I am little bit surprised that this calculated exposure is more, because I would tend to believe that the dots that you get,
Yeah.
they will get only when the exposure is more, and when you start it, the one at the edges is going to be not recorded properly, because at that point the star is moving and that would be very faint. So I would presume that the calculated value will
be
normally lesser than the actual value, because you would be losing the data at the edges of the arc, because they won't be, those portions won't be exposed for as much time as the other portion would have been, because the CCDs are not so sensitive that within a second they will grab that light.
Exactly. In fact, coming to that point, astrophotographers, I mean, with the past few sessions when we had discussed astrophotography, there is a rule which astrophotographers make use as rule of 500 or rule of 600. That is to find out what is the maximum exposure time for which the star wouldn't trail on your camera's on your photographs, or in particularly on your camera's sensor. So I think that is particularly dependent on the focal length and the image sensor of your camera. But that's a good point. I will actually keep that in mind.
Yeah, try and ask Harshad why can it come, I mean, more, because maybe because of some noise that might have been particularly there at the edge.
Okay.
It might have been longer than what the actual value is.
Okay.
Is that the particular ISO and that makes some sense over here? If it is at the
ISO would depend only on the sensitivity of the camera.
Yeah, but
sensor.
that will create a noise on that.
Sure, it will create a noise. But
Obviously, that makes some sense on that.
so noise, if that noise is imprinted onto this, then yes, then we'll be considering the noise out.
And it happens to be right at the wrong place.
Right.
Right at the wrong side.
Okay.
I agree.
So once we are done with this, this was the first part. Now I'm going to come back and do a little revision of what the celestial coordinates were. I mean, those who were present for last lecture of Abha, she had given a wonderful talk on. Is Abha there, by the way? No, she isn't. Okay, fine. So, how many of you are well acquainted with what right ascension and declination is, or?
In spite of that, you can say it, even if anybody knows.
So, what happens is when we are on Earth, okay, we define certain coordinates. I mean, Punyachi latitude is 18 degrees north, or 18.5 degrees north, and 73.7 degree east longitude. Okay, so when we have this system of latitudes and longitudes, you are exactly able to determine that location on Earth. So then people thought, then why not have the same system in astronomy or for stars in general? So what they did was, or what exactly is being done, is that if our Earth, okay, if we project our equator onto the celestial sphere, we assume that the Earth is, okay, let me just show it by a diagram. If we assume this is our Earth and we say there is a big celestial sphere here, okay? So on this celestial sphere, there will be stars. We assume that the celestial sphere is at infinity. Okay? So all stars are imprinted on this celestial sphere, and the Earth is rotating around its axis and going around the sun and so on. Okay? Now, what we say is that we project the equator of Earth onto this celestial sphere. म्हणजे काय की celestial sphere जो आहे, okay, for that we get an equator, or what we call as a celestial equator. Okay, so if you see in this photograph, okay, this would be that celestial equator, projection of Earth's equator. Okay, there is a celestial sphere, and obviously if we call something a sphere, then it would have something called as a celestial pole, such as celestial north pole, and here would be the celestial south pole. Okay, so in particular right now I want to focus on declination. Of course, right ascension is also an important aspect, but declination is defined as nothing but the angular separation of a star from the celestial equator. Similar is the case for latitude. And when I say that latitude of Pune is 18 degrees, what I mean to say is that from the equator, Pune is situated at an angle of 18 degrees. Alright? So let us say that this star has got some declination. Now, we all know that the stars keep changing their position as the night progresses and so on. But just as a trick question, would declination or right ascension of a star change, and if it changes, how? Would it change, and if it has to change, how will it change? You don't think it will change? Why should it? Why should it not?
Because it's really we are moving, like we are rotating.
Yeah, but I see the stars going around me.
Because we are rotating.
But
Because
then,
the Earth
but
is
then the
not-
coordinate should also change.
Which one?
This declination coordinate, that should also change.
Relatively, right? Relatively, from your perspective.
Any perspective, I have to say.
Right?
No, it will not change. There, you're perfectly right. I was just bombarding unnecessarily. The point is that we have, as I said in the beginning, that all these stars at their location, they are imprinted onto the celestial sphere. Okay, so irrespective of what our motion is, okay, our apparent motion definitely would change. Okay, but these stars would remain where they are. Okay, so declination would always, and declination and right ascension both would always remain constant. Okay, what would change is, or from our perspective, what would change is the altitude and azimuth of the star. Altitude is nothing but the angular separation with respect to the horizon. That is, if something is at the zenith, we call it as it has the altitude of 90 degrees. If something is on the horizon, we call it as having an altitude of 0 degrees. So that can keep changing, but right ascension and declination remains the same. Now,
What is the reference for this? From where it is measured, the RA and deck?
yes, right ascension is measured from a point, for example, where is longitude measured from? We know that it passes through Greenwich. But why was Greenwich chosen, or what is so special about Greenwich? There's nothing in particularly special about that location. It was just that they wanted a reference system, and that's where they started. So similarly, I do not know the exact story, but similarly, there is at the 0 hour, or the reference point of RA, we have the first point of Aries, okay, which is a point in the celestial sky. That's where from that, any position eastward from first point of Aries would be the right ascension. So if my star is here, okay, and from first point of Aries I move eastward, okay, and if I, whatever be my declination, that would be my RA and deck. So similarly to what happens in our longitude system, that Greenwich has the longitude of 0, and as we move 73 degree east of Greenwich and 18 degree in latitude, we reach Pune.
Once upon a time, vernal equinox was
Vernal equinox,
Aries.
exactly.
That is why
exactly.
I think
that
it
is the point.
starts from Aries.
That is the point. So vernal equinox happens on 21st of March, okay, and in fact these coordinates have been defined earlier. I think they were defined for some other year, but from the year 2000 we have been calling it as the 2000 year coordinates. And on the year 2000, on 21st of March, these coordinates were specified. These RA and deck will apparently, due to the Earth's precession, these coordinates may change over a period of time, but a period of over a few years, or maybe a few even decades, is small enough for this change.
This is as seen from outside that
Outside,
this
okay,
sphere.
so you have to come out of this perspective. So that is why when she asked that the stars are just from our perspective, that perspective, frame of reference ज्याला एक म्हणतात त्यांचे. So that is being used over here. Alright, so now comes a very amazing point which Abha had put in the last lecture, and I mean I just noted that one point very carefully in my book, and which says that all stars will trace circles parallel to the celestial equator as seen from our reference view. म्हणजे काय, we see all stars are rising in the east and setting in the west. This constant motion is going on. But the interesting part about these motions is that all these stars, or whatever circles they are going to trace ultimately, these circles are going to be parallel to the celestial equator. So I have got some simulations to show. So let us just try and understand the concept here. Okay, I had actually this simulation here. So if we say this is the first point of Aries, so this would be 0 hour right ascension and 0 degree declination. Okay, and say if I go on to the celestial pole, okay, even if I say keep the RA same, okay, let's say it is 0 hours RA, okay, still as the star comes here to the celestial pole, the circle it traces starts becoming smaller and smaller in radius, right? I mean, if you remember those arcs which we saw, okay, at the celestial pole, as we moved away, the circle started increasing in their radius. Okay, so you can see in this that as my declination starts decreasing, starts moving towards 0 degree, okay, the circle which it traces around the North Pole is also increasing, right? So this is about, and similar situation also happens in the southern hemisphere. Okay, so right now I'm going to come here and let us add some stars here. Okay, this is, I'm trying to simulate how these circles, what I spoke, that all these circles move in parallel to the celestial equator. So let us add some star patterns like Orion and would be good. Okay, we have some long star trails. Okay. And we say start animation. Okay, first we will go at Pune's latitude, or let's go at Pune's location. So we say 18.5 degree north and 73.7 east. Okay, and we start our animation. Okay, so we are at Pune's latitude right now, Pune's location, and this is how Orion and you can see Saptarshi out there near the North Pole. Okay, they are going around in circles. Okay, or this is how we usually, those who have come for these practical sessions or have done practical observing sessions before would have realized that this is how the general movement is, or it looks to us from Pune. Okay, but now let us say that in latitude, okay, I go to say the 0 degree latitude, I go at the equator. What happens? Was there some change? Not really noticeable, right? Or there was? Let us try again. Or before going to that, or before seeing this change, let us now go, this is the equator. Now just remember how it's the animation is showing onto the equator. Now let us go at the North Pole. What changed? Something drastically has changed. What has happened? Everything initially these circles were going from east to west, okay, crossing the zenith, okay. But now as I went on to the North Pole, suddenly these circles are actually there, what I would say, the stars, if you see, they are not setting or rising. So all the stars are the same, right? They will never rise or set, okay. At 0 degrees, okay, if we have to again, let's correlate our knowledge of pole stars and latitude. At the equator, when I showed you right now, where would the pole star be? Pole star. Horizon. And as we said that all stars will make circles around the pole star. So, if those circles, if you have to go back to the equator, we are going to make large circles because the pole star is at the horizon. But now, as the pole star, or as we go at the North Pole, the pole star will be directly above us because it's at the 90 degree altitude and 90 degree latitude. Alright, and that is why these circles will be in such kind of fashion at the North Pole. So at the North Pole, no star which is seen, okay, all stars will be seen, but no star will either rise or set. So everything will be there. Alright, now let us come back to the 18 degree latitude in Pune. Now do you notice a change, that there is some change in angle? Yes? I mean the angle which these circles make, can you make out there is 72 degrees or something? Can you make out if it is 72 degrees here? Okay? So what this angle is? Angle between the celestial equator and the horizon. Alright, so the celestial equator is changing with respect to our location, or the angle which it makes with respect to the horizon is changing with our latitude. Still confused? Little? Okay. You understood what the celestial equator is. That it is the projection of our equator onto the celestial equator. Let it take time. It will take some time to settle it. Okay. Now, let's go to the 0 degree latitude again. Okay. This celestial equator is exactly going to the zenith. Yes, to the east, zenith west. Okay. Yes. Okay. As I said, all stars will make circles parallel to the celestial equator. Yes. So all these stars, whichever star you choose, they are all making some circles which are parallel to the equator. Okay. Now let us say, now we want to say that I want to go onto the North Pole, 90 degree latitude. So what will happen at the 90-degree latitude? Pole star will go up. So obviously where would the celestial equator now be? Okay, what is the pole star's what I should say? Like, what did I say was declination? Angular separation with respect to the celestial equator. Correct? So if my pole star is at the zenith, okay, if it has altitude 90 degree, what is the angular separation indicating about the celestial equator? That the celestial equator will be at the horizon, at the north pole.
Yes.
Because 90 degree म्हणजे काय? It's at some angle with respect to the horizon. Okay? So at the north pole, so if I again go there, at the north pole, the entire celestial equator will be around me. Okay? And that is why I see that the pole star is right above us, and that's why these circles are happening. Okay? Now, I'll get back to the presentation part, and let us now try to understand these. Everyone is now a little convenient as to at least we understand or appreciate the fact that these star trails are changing, or these circles which they make do change with respect to our latitude. Yes, at least we let's not think as to how they are happening. That might take some time to settle in. Okay, but at least we appreciate this fact that it does change. So now let us look at the trails which these stars make. Exactly what we saw in the simulations. Let us try and see what the photographs show. Okay. So this is a photograph taken from the North Pole. Okay. That as we saw that usually star trails in the first few photographs we saw that they were like this. Okay, my initial slide, first slide was showing star trails exactly diagonally or in at some angle, appreciable angle. But here what I see is that they are going exactly straight, parallel to the horizon and parallel to each other. Right? Now, why do you think this is happening? As I just said that everything is going around you, okay? Okay, nothing is going like this. Okay, everything is going around this North Pole, which is exactly at the zenith. Okay, so obviously, if I say the celestial equator is entirely around me, okay, that means everything is just going to go around you. Just similar to if you were to sit on a watchtower, okay, and we were to say that, okay, let's rotate this watchtower in let's make one complete revolution. Let this watchtower rotate automatically. So whatever would be your actual motion, whatever apparently you would be seeing, probably the city or some monument in the city, okay, exactly that movement can be seen out here, okay, or apparently it is. Now